So actually the polymorphism concept, like at the runtime, some exceptions will occur. Exception in the sense, there are three types of exceptions in a Java, like checked exceptions, unchecked exceptions, and errors. Exception and error is different. Error is a different. So if there is any issue occurred at the, I mean at JVM, the runtime is not available, Java virtual machine is not available, we will call those as errors. The exceptions in the sense, like array out of bounds. So if you are supposed to the size of an array is like a 5, and you are supposed to add the sixth element to the array, then array out of bound exception will come. So this is the difference between error and an exception. So why I'm discussing that this, because compile time as well as the runtime somewhat are different. So suppose okay, let me complete this one, I will show the example later. So if you overload a static method in Java, it is the example of a compile time polymorphism. Again, I'm telling you, if you overload, what is the overloading concept? If you are having the same method name inside a class with different parameters, we'll call it as a overloading. So at that time, we are supposed to use a static method. If you use a static method for overloading concept, then we will call that as a runtime polymorphism. So here we'll focus on a runtime polymorphism right now. So like, let me share you my screen. Okay, it's already done, right? Yeah, okay. So till date, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, 8 topics has been completed, right? Okay, let me go for one more class, like run time poly. I will make it as a POLY. Okay, which is good. Yeah. So just this is a runtime polymorphism. Just I'm going to discuss that one. And then I'm going for a public static void main. This is like a string. It's okay. So here I'm going to take a one more class over here. I'm going to declare class. I will take it as an ECE. Okay, which is good. So here inside the class ECE, I'm going to take a two methods or a functions. I'm going to take a two methods or a function. What is a polymorphism? What is an overloading concept? So now I'm going to discuss about the overloading concept. What they said, according to the polymorphism concept at the runtime, if we use a static keyword over there, what is a static? A general thing. What is a generally we'll call a static in the sense, other than dynamic, we'll call it as a static. But the static in the sense, once the memory has been created, it will be shared again and again. It will be there is no need to create again and again. So we are going to use the same memory so that the memory will be saved. That's why these people are using static over here for the main method. Only once created, then we are going to use the same memory location so many times. This is all about the static. So here I'm going to take, excuse me. Okay, so here I'm going to take one method like a void test. So this is like, yeah, why I took a small letter over here. The method always starts with a small letter. The class always starts with a capital letter. Remember the words every time. I'm going to repeat this one. Okay. So here I'm going to create the test method. So what is this method without a parameters? I'm going to declare that one. We are going to discuss about the runtime polymorphism. Remember my words. Okay. We are not going for the, I mean, compile time polymorphism. Just we are going for runtime polymorphism. here I'm going to take one more, the same name. So if I create like this, what it will happen? So it's already defined over here. Then why you took this one? So if you want to overload that, then you have to give an argument over here, an argument over here. So then if you call this one, so many times we discuss this topic, please be conscious. Okay, make sure that the topic what I'm discussing, just make sure concentrate on the topic what I'm discussing. So here this is the same name and this is also a same name of a method. When you say that this method is overloaded by this method, it should be like when you call this one from over here, when you call this one, this method from the another method, it should be of a different arguments. It should be of a different arguments. So if you want to declare one more method over here, like a void and test, this is like I'm going to take int a and int b. So this is of a two method argument. So every time you can take the same method, and we already discussed about the overriding concept. What is an overriding? If there are two classes, that one is going to extend the properties of a parent class, like just I want to show you that one also. Class ECE section B. Okay, I'm taking as ECE section B, and this consisting of like a void test, the same name of a method. So when it will get overridden, so see this one, when I'm going to take extends keyword over here, the inheritance concept, extends keyword over here, like ECE. So I'm going to extend this. See this one, this has been overridden. This is overriding, overloading in the concept, like in the same class. Overriding will go for one more class, that which extends the properties of a parent class. This is the main difference. Just remember these words. Okay, so this is like overloading, this is like overriding. I'm going to override this method, the test. If you want to override this method, I need to take the same like this. Now it has been overridden, this is not overridden. If I want to override this one, I need to take one more like this. Sorry, it should be B. Okay, so now I'm overriding this method. So this is the main difference. Please remember the words what I'm saying. Okay, so here the main thing about, we are going to consider this one for overloading. Overloading will be inside the same class, overriding will occur outside the class. So when you are going to extend, so at this point overriding, at this point it is a overloading. Okay, think you got my point what I'm saying. So here what he said, like we are going to take a static. So like a static, if I mention a static like this, so what it will happen, it is like a runtime polymorphism. Runtime polymorphism. You need to remember this one. Just a second. So here, one thing you have to notice over here. So at this runtime polymorphism, there is a reference of a parent class. There is a reference of a parent class. We are going to extend the parent class. We are going to take the parent class reference and we are going to upcast it. The word upcasting. Upcasting in the sense, we are going to create an object for the parent class by using the reference of the parent class. We are going to instantiate with the another class. I will give you the example, a very good example for you. So it is like, okay, let me show you that. Is it available or not? Yep. Okay. So, okay, I will take my own example like this. Yes, I'm going to remove this, not required right now. Okay. So here I'm going to create, if I want to use this class and I want to print the values of this class, ECE class. Let me take Let me remove this one. So many methods are not necessary for us. So I'm going to take just a second. System dot out dot println, and this is a default method. Default method in the sense there is no arguments over here. So like, okay, I will take it as without arguments. Okay, without arguments. So yeah, okay. So I'm going to copy this one. Just copy this. And this is with argument. So here itself, I want to print the value of A also. I want to pass this value. How you are going to print that? Directly by using a concatenation operator, you are going to place A over here. Okay. So this we can, print over here like this using the concatenation. So everything inside the println statement will be concatenated by using a plus operator over here. Okay. The plus operator. Remember the words what I'm saying. So here, this is like a without arguments method, and this is like a with arguments method. Only one argument we are having, int A. So these two things are overloaded. So what is this runtime polymorphism? How we are going to achieve that? So here also I'm going to take one more thing, just a second. So here I'm not overriding this because this method with the two arguments, nothing, there is nothing available over here. Just I'm taking this again. I'm going to take this one from, this is like from I'm going to take it as a name ECE because this class name is like ECE. So I want to show you the variation from which class we are going to print the value. Okay. So this is also ECE. Okay. And this is from ECE B section. Okay. So this is ECE B section. So I want to show you the difference over here as a variation. So when we are going to print the values from this one, we need to know from which class we are going to take it. That's why these are the things I'm just mentioned over here. Okay. I'm going to print this one, the same thing like the plus A and a plus B. So here these two values doesn't add over here. If you want to add these two values, you need to mention inside a parenthesis like this. If you want to add A and B, you need to mention like this. Again, I'm telling you, so many times I mentioned, if you want to add these two values, if I passed 2 and 3 over here, like 2 plus 3 is equal to 5 will be printed. If you remove the parenthesis, 2 and 3 will be printed. Only 23 will be printed. So these two things doesn't add. They will be concatenated. They will be, I think you got my point what I'm saying. Okay. So this is like thing you have to remember. The things what we mentioned with an operator plus inside a println statement, these things doesn't add over here. They will be concatenated. Just I want to show you this one. Wait a second, so that you will get a good idea about this one. Okay, how you are going to use another classes? If it is not available here, we need to import that one. If it is available inside the same package, there is no need to import that one. Directly we can create an object. How we are going to create an object for ECE? I'm going to create an object for ECE, and the name, the reference, we are going to create as ECE. Okay, is equals to, by using a new keyword ECE. Just I created an object, and if I want to call these two methods, what we need to do? Directly by using ECE dot, by using dot operator, we are going to print these values dot test2. This is the argumented value. I need to pass one, and like 34. Okay. So if I want to call this one, see this has been highlighted. Just I want to remove this. These are unhighlighted. See this one. If you call this one, these will two methods are highlighted. So how are you going to call this one? These methods by using the object creation of the particular class. Okay. Now I'm going to run this one. Just I'm not telling about the runtime polymorphism right now. So that was a different. So I want to tell you how you're going to call the methods Okay, think like this is a recall. Okay, see this one, ECE without arguments and ECE with arguments method. So these two methods has been called, which these two methods are overloaded. These two methods are overloaded. What is the overloading concept? So this is like the same method name, but different parameters, or an arguments. Okay. So this is all about overloading concept. And here the polymorphism, now we are going to set the polymorphism. What is this polymorphism? Here I am going to create upcasting concept. I already discussed this. I don't know whether I just discussed it or not. Upcasting. So what is the upcasting concept? Here I just created an object. I just used the main class object. And now I'm going to take here ECE B over here. Sorry, ECB over here. I think you got what I'm saying. See this one. When it will be happen like when this class ECB section extends the properties of a ECE. ECE in the sense we are having A, B, C sections. Think like this is acquiring the properties of ECE. And also if I took one more class like ECA section, it is also acquires the properties of a parent class. This is a parent class for the B section. So here, when I'm going to extend the properties, if I mention by using a new keyword, I just entered ECE B over here. This is called upcasting. If I remove this, just a second. If I remove this one, so this is a common object creation. This is a common object creation. If I mention which has been extend the properties of a parent class and I created instantiation by using the child class, we will call it as an upcasting. We'll call it as an upcasting. I think you got my point, what I'm saying. So now I'm going to run the program. So here, the same thing will happen like this. I'm going to remove this one now. I need overriding over here. I need overriding. So now the test int A, the test int A, the return type is same. The test method name is same. Arguments are same. We'll call it as an overriding concept. Now this method has been overridden. This method inside an ECE. So here I want to remove this one because it is not available. Yep. So here I just created this. As I want to make a comment for this, I don't want to print this one right now. Okay. So here I'm calling ECE. Actually, the reference was the parent class, but I upcasted with the child class. This is called a runtime polymorphism. Okay, this is called a runtime polymorphism. I'm upcasting it by the parent class, I mean the child class. But this is a parent class. I didn't created the parent class object by using a new ECE, but I just created an upcasting. This is the main concept of a runtime polymorphism. So just remember this one. With an example only, you will came to, you can't understand. With the practice or a practical things only, you will understand. Okay, that's why this is a good example for that. Okay, so I'm going to call int test. So here, see this one, when I just call the reference of this one, I can call these methods also. This is the usage of this runtime polymorphism. So it has been extended directly. I can call these two methods also, but here I instantiated this one. Then also I will call these two methods also, a test and a test2, because this test method has been overridden. This one overridden, sorry. So I'm going to call a test. Okay, I'm going to pass the value like a 23, and then I'm going to call ECE dot test without arguments, and just call this one also. Okay, now which will be printed? This one or this one? Let's check it out. See this one. ECEB without arguments method. So this method has been overridden. This method, it has been printed, and this is does not printed. Okay, I think you got what I'm saying. Just this method has been overridden. This is the concept. Okay, and here we just call this one also EC without arguments. This one also. Okay, there is no need to call this one because this method has been overridden over here. This method has been overridden over here. So there is no need to call this one. This is all about a runtime polymorphism. The main concept is like, so when you are going to create an object, do not create an object with the parent class. You take the child class a reference by creating instantiation. This is called an upcasting. When you're class like sorry, when you're going to write in an examination, you need to mention the word upcasting over there. This one, this is called an upcasting. Okay, so just practice it. You will get a good idea about this one. This is all about a runtime polymorphism. So it is like one more thing I would like to tell you. I think not necessary. Okay, just I want to tell you one thing. Method invocation is determined by the JVM, Java Virtual Machine. This is about when we are method invocation, in the sense I'm just upcasting it. When I created this one, it will be inside the concept of a memory creation by the Java Virtual Machine. At that time when I created it, it will be inside a heap area. So inside a heap area, inside a Java Virtual Machine. So this will happen only at the runtime. This will happen only at the runtime, not at the compile time. What will happen at the compile time? If I remove this, see this one, this is a compile time error. Directly we are getting compile time error, cannot resolve EC. I think you got my point, what I'm saying. So it is like when I'm going to create instantiation and just using new keyword, it will be created inside Java Virtual Machine. Maximum each and everything inside a JVM will occur at the time of a runtime only. When you run the program, the memory allocation will occur. So that's why we'll call this as a runtime polymorphism. Okay. Okay. And now we are going for another topic. Do I need to go for one more example? Yeah, I'll go for one more example. I think I already said this one. Okay, so here, okay, I will go for one more. It is like the Java class. The name should be like banking. Yeah, okay. So we are going to discuss what the things the banking sector use. Not this one, this program, they won't use that one, but some of it they will use this one. So here I'm going to take a public static void main string. There is no need for one more example. Just because of you are going to practice it. Yes, I'm giving more examples for you. Okay, so I'm going to take a class like a bank. Okay, and one more. So bank, in the sense, so many banks are there. So I'm going to take CLSS class SBI. Okay, this is one of the class. And I'm going to take one more class like ICICI. Okay, whatever it is. So ICICI, one of the bank, and one more bank like Axis. Okay. Okay, yeah, I don't like Axis Bank. Citibank. I like Citibank. So this is a Citibank, ICICI and SBI. All these belongs to the bank. How you are going to get that one? By using extends keyword. I would like to return the value, which is a good one. Okay. inside this, I'm going to take a method. Wait a second, just I want to do this one method. I want to return a float over here, rate of, okay, I will take it as a rate of interest, ROI. Okay, ROI. Okay, good. So I just used a return statement over here. So it is necessary for us to return a value. What we need to return a value, how we are going to return? Like a 0. Why this happened? Okay, I need to mention this as a method. Okay, so 0, I'm returning 0. So here itself, the rate of interest for the banking like 6.2, I think. Yep. So like a float, I want to copy this one. Yes, I want to mention this. So this is all about the runtime polymorphism. So this is one more example I'm giving you. This is a real-time example. Okay, just check this out. So I'm going to take the rate of interest like a 6.2. Just wait a second. It is taking double. Okay, I will take it as F because this is a float, right? I need to mention F over here. Why I mentioned F over here? What is the difference by using F keyword, capital or small f? We need to mention if you want to return off a float, or else it will go for a double. Already said this one. Okay, if I remove this, it is expecting a double. You should not change this one to a double over here. Okay, make it as an F. I want to take inside an ICICI, like these people are a private people, they are going to grab more interest from the people itself. That's why they mentioned like rate of interest is like a 7.2. So they are giving more rate of interest. The Citibank, these people are giving, I think, us okay, well, 7.0. Okay, so this is all about the rate of interest. Now what, how I need to override this method? I need to override this method inside a parent class. What I need to do? I need to use an extends keyword like a bank. Okay, now this has been overridden. Now here, the same thing, extends bank. Now this method has been overridden, this method. Again, the same thing for the Citibank also, extends okay. So here I'm going to create an upcasting. So we are going to discuss about the runtime polymorphism, right? So here I'm going to create the upcasting by using the parent class. How you are going to do that? Bank is equals to new. Now the upcasting will occur. This one, SBI. I like this. Now the upcasting has been created. So every time directly we can take this out okay. Okay, I will take it as a bank and then directly I will go for bank is equals to new, sorry, SBI off. Now system dot out dot println. So inside this, I'm going to take a bank. This is all about ROI of SBI. Okay, now I'm going to take a concatenation and then I'm going to call the method inside a bank SBI. Okay, so how you are going to do that? By using the reference of the bank dot ROI. So here when I call this one, it won't be printed, it will be printed. Okay, because here I just created an upcasting over here. So I want to access the ICICI Bank, or what I need to do. So just copy this one, just copy this, paste it over here and change it to ICICI. Okay, and I need to the same thing, but here it will be overridden by the ICICI Bank. There is no change over here. Again, I'm going to do this for a Citibank. What I need to do? The same thing, upcast it with the Citibank. So the same thing. So now see this one. This is for ICICI and this is for a Citibank. Okay. So this is all about the runtime polymorphism. At this time, you are going to create an upcasting. This is an upcasting. Please remember this word, very important topic. That's why I'm just taking one more example, not necessary for one more example. Okay. So this is like a real time. So now here itself, I just created an instantiation of a child class for the parent class. This is the parent class. This is the child class. And then I'm calling ROI. And again, I created one more instantiation with a ICICI child class. Here I calling bank.roi. Every time when I created this, only the particular method inside the child class will be printed, not from this zero. Okay. Just I'm running the program. See, you will get a good idea about this one. Practice it. Very easy topic, but very important topic. Okay. See this one. Rate of interest of SBI is 6.2. ICICI 7.2. Citibank is 7.0. Okay. This is all about the real-time concept of how the people are using an upcasting concept like this. Okay. This is all about the runtime polymorphism. Please practice it. Okay. And we are going for one more topic right now. I think you got the point what I'm saying. You just understood this one. Practice it. Okay. Don't forget this. This is a very, very important topic. Okay. The next concept is like I think there are so many examples over there, not necessary, I think. Okay. Okay. End of this topic, and we'll I want to check your syllabus. Okay. What is the next concept? Like a dynamic binding. Okay. This is dynamic binding. Yeah, there are two things available inside a Java. Like this, I want to show you my slide, which is good for you. Push shift and S. Just a second. Just I'm going for the slide. Yeah. Okay. This is like a dynamic. So this is the next topic for you. So what is the use of a dynamic binding? Just I want to place this one. Okay. So here, what is a static and dynamic binding? Let's want to change this to this, which is looks good. Yeah. So here we are having a static and dynamic binding, but in our syllabus we are having only a dynamic binding. So if you want to know about this one, that's why I mentioned this one. When the type of an object is determined at a compile time, is known as a static. So you already know about the dynamic. Dynamic in the sense at the runtime. You have to remember this one every time. So dynamic runtime. So when the type of an object is determined at a runtime, it is called a dynamic binding. So every time so many times I mentioned like static in the sense within the class at the time of a compile time, it will happen. Okay. The type of an object is determined in the sense if there is a class, we are going to mention, we are going to create an object for that. So if that happened at the compile time, we'll call it as a static. When we are going to create an object at the runtime, then we'll call it as a dynamic binding. Just remember the words what I'm saying. This is also an important topic only. So unit 2 is like you are going to get at least 15 to 20 marks you will get, I think. Maybe I'm expecting, sure. because maximum number of important topics are included inside the second unit. So better go for this and read it well. So just sorry for the delay. I didn't prepare your notes for that. So later I will prepare, because now itself maybe I'm going for lab examinations and all. We need to conduct that one. So there is a delay. Maybe you can expect within 2 to 3 days I will post that one. Your notes in the group itself. So please make sure that what I shared to you, textbook I already shared to you. Very good book, that one. Just go through the topics what I'm just explaining it to you. Okay. So static and dynamic binding, what I discussed today, just go there, read once, and then practice in your laptop. Okay, which is necessary for you, so that you won't forget what are all the things I mentioned. Okay. So if you mention, like, if you know one example, try more examples. There is a Google, right? Google it. I need dynamic binding examples. So many examples you will get. Practice it every day. Okay, then you will get, like, Java is a very easy topic. Like, you will get a good idea about the practice. Okay. So what is the static at the compile time? What is the dynamic at the runtime? Just remember the words. Okay. So the object creation will happen at the runtime. Here the object creation will happen at the compile time. We are having this one in your syllabus. We are going to discuss this one only. So we are not going to discuss this one, but I want to tell you what is a static binding. Okay. So what is the use of this static and dynamic binding? So understanding this as, like, when I'm going to take what I want to show you. Okay. Just no, it's a dynamic, right? So when the type of an object is determined at the runtime, we already discussed about it, is called as a dynamic binding. So when it will be created, so we already discussed the previous topic. What is that one? Runtime polymorphism. So the same thing will happen. So here I want to tell you one thing. Just I want to show you the example of that. Please keep the notes for the first chapter. Keep notes. What is this keep notes? Okay. Okay, we'll discuss that one later. Okay, 1 second. Okay, just I want to share you my screen. You need to know about this topic, right? Okay, yeah. See this one. Here, this example is enough for that. This example is enough for that. So I don't know why they mentioned over there. If it is like, yeah, see this one. So here we created an upcasting over here. So this will happen at the runtime, which we call it as dynamic binding. Okay, there is no need to go for one more example. Okay, so when, like, ECE EC is equals to new ECE of. So this is at a compile time. I think you got my point what I'm saying. This is a dynamic. Sorry. Don't know why they mentioned this. I think you got very easy this one. This is a very easy thing. So if you create a directly an object for that, for this class, this will happen at compile time. This will happen at a runtime. Runtime in the sense, the JVM creates the memory location. This one. This will happen at the compile time. This is happen at the runtime. This is all about a dynamic binding. There is no need to go for a big topic like that. Okay. I think you got my point what I'm saying. Okay. This will happen at a compile time. This will happen at the runtime. This is called a dynamic binding. Okay. I think there is no need to go for one more example and all. If you use an upcasting, this is called a dynamic binding. It will happen at the runtime only. If you don't use that one, it will happen at the compile time. I think, do I need to go for one more example? The same thing, like this is the example is enough. So it will happen, the object creation will happen at the compile time. And if you use a child class, if you upcast like this, that's why the people will call this as a polymorphism and a dynamic binding. They need to mention like that, but they mentioned it separately. So this example is enough for upcasting concept. This is like a dynamic binding, and this is like compile time, right? This is a static binding. Okay. So the static binding is not available inside your syllabus, but it is okay. Just learn this one. So this is like a dynamic binding. If you upcast this with the child class, we'll call it as a dynamic binding. If you don't upcast it, then this is the parent class directly, this one. Okay. So this is all about a dynamic binding, and then I need to check the time. Just wait a second. I will try to go for one more topic. Okay, just a second. This is enough for example. Why they mention like this? Okay, it's okay. The next topic is like a generic programming. I think now it is not possible to complete that one. So the time has been done, right? So generic programming and casting objects, and after this generic programming, those things are also important. Just read a second unit also well. Actually, I shared a textbook for you. Please delay and all, like